And welcome back to Pokemon Team Creation Series. Today's Pokemon Team Creation Series comes from me! Yeah, every once in a while I throw my own hat in the ring with characters I want to do a series for. I have my own list. It's not actually a list of characters so much as it is a list of characters from series that have characters, that series that I like and characters that I take from. Honestly, I really just have I have Naruto, I have Bleach, I have Godzilla, and I have My Hero listed on there as like my big four because I don't because there's so many I could pull from. But yes, we're doing another one of mine, and this is another Bleach one. So I kind of go down the list too. I kind of run down the list, so I like go one of each and then continue on. And I decided to do something different. Instead of doing one of the captains, like I've been going through the captains as of late, I decided, nah, screw it. We're going to do one of the Espada. We haven't done an Espada yet. I think that's cool. Let's do that. So we're going to look at the Prima Espada, Coyote Starrk. Honestly, he was definitely one of my favorite characters. He had a great design, a great idea behind him. He had some cool abilities. He was just a very cool character in general. And his fight with Shunsui is definitely one of the more highlighted fights of the Fake Karakura Town arc. But let's for those of you who don't actually know who this character is from Bleach, I mean, you either watch this series because you like Pokemon and know the characters, or you watch the series solely because you like Pokemon and want to hear my take on these characters. But so, long story short of it, let's see if I can get this down in under a minute, starting at the 40-second mark. Go. In the story of Bleach, there are Shinigami death gods who, keep the balance. They have cool weapons, all that stuff. Well, there's an opposite group in one of the arcs called the Espada, which are hollows, aka kind of demon-esque creatures, souls that were corrupted and lost a certain part of their humanity, that gain the ability of Soul Reapers. This guy was ranked as basically the strongest among that group, technically. His abilities translated, basically, he was very powerful, could casually just throw out Ceros, which are laser beams, more or less. His ability, though, is actually they all have swords that seal their abilities. His sword actually wasn't sealed, or his abilities weren't sealed in the sword. His abilities were sealed in a person, Lilieto. And when he activated his abilities, he took on this form, became a gunslinger, and could summon big spirit wolves and stuff like that. It was really cool. So anyway, for those of us who do know the character, you don't want me to explain it because you already know the character. You want me to get into this. So let's get into it. So in any of these Shinigami Bleach characters, I usually have to add a Honedge to the team, just because the Zanpakutos still exist. This is legitimately a sword-based Pokemon, so it just makes sense. It was also the last Mon I put on the team because I just needed a filler spot. But beyond that, what else would be on this man's Pokemon team? Well, one of the ones that's been really making a lot of appearances lately is Inteleon. Now, why Inteleon? Because it is the closest thing we have to a gunslinger right now. It's a spy. I know that. It is based off a spy. It's like a chameleon spy. But it's the only Mon that basically uses gun. I mean, yeah, it's its fingers, it shoots bullets from its fingers, but basically, yeah, it's the closest we have to a gunslinger. And I knew for a fact if I were doing this character, I needed a gunslinger. The closest thing we had to a gun is freaking Ramarade, and I was not going to use Ramarade on this team. So there's that. One, though, that came in after the first three or four were decided upon, Slacking. Now, why Slacking? This one might come off as like, wait, what? But think on this. One of the defining traits of Stark is his laziness. He doesn't want to fight. He just wants to lay about and do nothing, really. He's so strong that individuals used to just die in his presence. And so what is Salakov's signature ability? It's Truant, where he doesn't make a move every other turn. But he literally has base stats that surpass pseudo-legendaries and even are comparable to some legendaries, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, most legendaries have, like, main legendaries, mind you, have, like, a base 600, and I think now it's, like, 60 or 70, if I'm not mistaken. I'm getting a couple up here right now. Like, let's look at, like, Lugia and Ho-Ho, some of the older school legendary Pokemon. Now, granted, old school would be, like, OG would be, Mew, Mewtwo. Mew is a mythic, though. It's only got a base 600. because all of its stats are 100 flat. Lugia's base stat total is 680. Okay, so yes, it's about 680. Whereas Slacking's base power is, I know it's like 6 something. Hold on, where are you, Slacking? There you are, Slacking. Slacking, we are just slacking off. I want slacking, not slack off. I immediately went for slack off by mistake. Slacking's base stat total is 670. It is literally 10 points off from being a legendary Pokemon in its stats. The problem for anyone using a Slacking is that it has Truant and no other ability, no even hitting ability. Now, there are ways you can get around that, especially in double battles, but outside of battles, you can't do that. So, having near legendary power, being one of the strongest just main series non-legendaries around, if not the strongest base stat total for any non-legendary main series mon, well, that obviously is right up the alley for someone like Stark, who is very lazy, but when push comes to shove, is still one of the strongest characters in that part of the series, or at least on the villain side. So Slacking actually made a lot of sense to me. And then we immediately transfer over to one of the main abilities he had in his released form, in his Resurrection, which is what the released form is called, for those of you who don't know. Which is what you see there, that cool gunslinger motif, is that his name is Coyote Starrk. His Zanpakuto's name was Los Lobos, which is, something wolf. I think it just translates to the wolf. I don't think, wait, that's not what Los is it? Lobos, I know, is wolf. Or wolves, to be, because Lobo is wolf. I know that. 1 second here. Let's see. Coyote Starrk. What did I mean, it's not that big a deal, but I am just yeah, okay, there you are, Stark. What is your Zanpakuto translate to? I know it's something wolves. Let's see here. Los Lobos, it is the wolves, or pack of wolves. Okay, Los Lobos. And basically what he was capable of doing was partitioning his soul, separating fragments of his soul, and creating wolves that basically, upon contact, exploded like bombs. So there really wasn't anything I had that could do that. But another ability he had also was to shoot Ceros from the gun, or from both of his guns. He could also do this naturally without the guns, but the guns made it a bit more effective of a technique. So I knew I needed to have some dog Pokemon. And luckily, we recently got Graveyard, one of the best boys ever. He's so good. Look at that boy. Now, part of me could have easily just made either or Houndstone. I believe that's his evolution's name, Houndstone. I could have just gone a group of Houndstone or Graveyard, but that wouldn't be fun. And plus, I honestly just kind of wanted to do one to represent the spirit aspect of it. Beyond that, because really, that's not a wolf. That is like a dog. I don't know exactly what type of dog it's supposed to be. I think like some sort of Shar-Pei or something. But otherwise, I will also put Lycanroc day form on here, because that looks a lot closer to what the wolves actually looked like with Stark's technique. But that leaves us with the last one. And now, it is still canine, but it is different. I put Lucario, particularly Mega Lucario, on this team. Now, Mega Lucario I put on this team, A, because I wanted something that could use energy-based attacks. So Aura Sphere, for example, Dragon Pulse Lucario can learn, which translate and look very much like a Sero does. Second, there's just the aesthetic. There's the aesthetic appeal. This guy, let me get Stark's image up front again. This guy looks, come on. Why is there a reason you are not? Oh, that's Slacking. That's Stark. There you are, Stark. I'm gonna do that. Yeah, you look at those two. Not dead ringers, but that's the closest you're ever going to get in Pokemon to an aesthetic motif. And then third, Mega Evolution definitely acts like a release, especially in terms of a Roncar, where their actual form changes and they gain extra strength. That works in tandem perfectly. So it's a canine for that 4th added bonus. So it really does work. Mega Lucario is actually a perfect mon for this guy. So ultimately, that is Coyote Starrk's team. Mega Lucario, Honedge, Inteleon, Graveyard, Lycanroc, and Slacking. How balanced is this team, though? Actually, it's pretty damn balanced. There's really not many repeats. Granted, there's only 2 dual types on the entire team, and they both share a type. So, I mean, you have 1 ghost, actually, I take that back. There are 2 repeats. 2 steel types and 2 ghost types. But the steel ghost type, Honedge, while having the lowest stats probably of the group, except for maybe Graveyard, does boast 3 immunities, which is very nice. Still weak to fire and dark, though, but what are you going to do? Mega Lucario is perfectly fine. Really, this team doesn't have any serious weakness, save for maybe some fighting issues, because both Rock and Normal are weak to fighting. Then you have 2 Mon that are weak to Ghost, and then you have a solid Water type there as well. So that is the team, in my opinion, for Coyote Starrk, the Prima Espada from Bleach. Do you like this team? Do you dislike this team? What would you do different if you would do anything different? Let me know in the comments below. But until then, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see you folks for the next